First, we welcome former Governor Sarah Palin. 4 years ago, she was on that stage herself. Fox News contributor. Governor, we wish you were here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Sean. I'm glad you're there.
All right, let's go back. It was 4 years ago, last night, not exactly to the day, that you gave your speech at the Republican convention. What did you think of Paul Ryan's speech last night?
Well, it was 4 years ago last night that I was introduced as John McCain's running mate, and I'm so extremely proud and honored to have accepted the nomination then a couple days later from the Republican Party. But that's a chapter now that obviously has been closed, and that was closed last night when the next GOP VP nominee took the stage and promised Americans that he would fight for the exceptionalism that many of us expect in our government leaders. I was very proud of Paul Ryan and pleased with the words that he had to say, and just can't wait until, 68, 69 days from when we get to turn this car around, as President Obama would say, turn this car around that's heading us down a road towards bankruptcy and get on an economic path that leads to freedom and prosperity.
Well, one of the things, obviously, that happened that impacted the campaign in 2008 was the financial crisis that hit just before the election. There has been a financial crisis pretty much ever since. Fewer Americans working, more debt, greater deficits. In that sense, when you look back, do you think that had a greater impact than perhaps other people know?
It was the most impacting aspect of the race in 2008 was the economic collapse that happened in September, and there was nothing really that a GOP ticket could do to turn around people's ideas of what the mainstream media was telling them, and that was that it was all the Republicans' fault there in Washington, D.C., and don't elect a Republican ticket or we'll get more of the same. And yet look what happened. People got sucked into believing Obama's, that bogus, hopey-changey stuff that was built on just this utopian idea in a fantasy land. In fact, Bill Clinton said it best. He said, if this ain't the biggest fairy tale that he'd ever seen, the whole Obama campaign. And we did then see in these last 4 years the manifestation of Barack Obama's his promises that were unfulfilled, and now we have an opportunity to do something about it and to hire a new team of leaders to get us out of this mess.
The governor will promise tonight in his speech that he will create 12 million jobs. He will offer a 5-point plan. Point number one is an issue that is very near and dear to your heart, and it has to do with energy. And as part of the speech, he will say tonight that first, by 2020, North America will be energy independent by taking full advantage of oil, coal, and gas, nuclear, and renewables. In other words, all of the above. You think that's a plan towards creating a lot of jobs?
Yeah, of course we can do that. Of course we can do that, because this is America, and America was built on a foundation of responsible natural resource development and of an expectation of hard work, of industry in this country. We just need to get back to those two principles, and jobs in the private sector will be able to be created. Yes, energy independence is absolutely possible. We have hundreds of billions of barrels of oil, and we have untold trillions of cubic feet of natural gas. We have so much coal, more coal than there is oil in Saudi Arabia. We have so much potential, Sean. It's unfortunate that President Obama has decided to tap foreign sources of energy instead of our own God-given sources of energy in order to allow us to reach that energy independence.
By the way, Paul Ryan and his wife have just arrived inside the convention hall, sitting in their box, as you can see there right on our screen. Going to Paul Ryan's speech last night, he had never seen opponents so silent about their record and so desperate to keep their power, running out of ideas, and fear and division taking over. I wanted to get your reaction to the general tone that this campaign has taken. Governor Romney, as we know, has been accused of causing a woman's cancer. He's been called a felon. President Obama says Republicans want dirty air and water, and they don't care about kids with autism, Down syndrome. It's been pretty negative, pretty nasty. Does this backfire on the Democrats and the president?
The Democrats and their lapdogs in the progressive liberal media will stop at nothing to get Obama reelected. We saw what they put John McCain and other Republicans threw 4 years ago, it perhaps will get even worse in these next 60-some days. So everybody just needs to hang on to their hat and make sure that their voters are doing their own homework. Don't believe what you hear in that mainstream media. They've been proven over and over again, 90% of them being in the tank for Obama, that what they will try to portray and relay to voters is based on falsehoods. People just have to do their own homework, and you know, we won't underestimate the wisdom of the people. They know what they got with President Obama, and that's a failed policies, that's insolvency, the path that we are on, so we don't have to repeat those mistakes.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, I kind of go back and I use the term often, Obama mania. And Paul Ryan referred to this a little bit last night when he talked about, you know, the president with stirring speeches and Greek columns and the thrill of something new. But yet, in the end, doesn't it really come down to, when you put all the ads aside and all the negativity aside, when 25 million Americans aren't working and 1 in 6 Americans are in poverty and 49 million Americans needing food stamps, doesn't it come down to that stark reality that America, the America we grew up understanding, can do better? So when all the clutter gets pushed aside, will that campaign, will voters decide on those issues, not on the attack ads, not on the attacks?
You know what it comes down to when you consider that 1 in 5 working-age men cannot find a job today? All those Greek columns and hopey-changey, utopian ideas that were promised and then, of course, not fulfilled. What it comes down to for these Americans who are looking for work is what will allow these Carhartts and steel-toed boots to get back to work. How can we reindustrialize this country and quit outsourcing so much of what we should be producing? How can we make sure that these are American-made industries again? We do that by not putting our faith in big centralized government planners thinking that they can plan our economy and our businesses, our families better than we can ourselves. The path to freedom and prosperity for America, it runs through free men and free markets. It doesn't run through government.
What did you think of Governor Biden's comments, unchained? They want to put you all back in chains. And the mayor of Los Angeles, who will play a prominent role next week in Charlotte, that you can't just trot out a brown face or a Spanish surname and expect people are going to vote for your party or candidate. Also, a surrogate in Virginia played the race card. What is your reaction to that?
Yeah, that kind of reverse racial discrimination stuff, you know, that's so bogus too, Sean, because when you consider their accusations that the GOP is racist, consider then why is it that we elect in primaries people like Susana Martinez? Why is it that we have such great respect for Herman Cain and Condoleezza Rice and Thomas Sowell? Why is it that we would elect through a primary Mia Love? And so many of these charities, the GOP is a big tent. I don't care about somebody's pigment, the color of their skin. I do care about their character, and I think that I can boldly state on behalf of most conscientious Americans that it is all about someone's character, their record, their reputation. It's not about skin color. So for the other side to continue to play this race card, it just diminishes the point that they're trying to make. You dismiss that accusation because you know it is false.
Let me ask you to this extent, because there's always this attempt to falsely characterize or create a caricature of conservatives. Conservatives want lower taxes, limited government, and all of these horrible things are said. Did this convention go a long way to stopping that false narrative?
Sean, ask me that again. What goes a long way to stopping the false narrative?
No, I'm saying, did this convention go a long way to stopping the false narrative that has been advanced by not only the campaign of the president, his surrogates, by even members of the news media?
Well, obviously the convention helps. You know, it builds enthusiasm. But we got to, you know, beyond tonight, quit preaching to the choir. We need to get out there and talk to the independents out there in America, just hardcore patriotic Americans who want a job, Reagan Democrats, those who aren't obsessed with obsessive partisanship and maybe are sitting there in the convention hall today, you know, just normal, average, everyday Americans want that American exceptionalism to be part of our lives again, who want to know that our best days are in front of us. That's who we need to reach with that message of the planks in the platform of the GOP are the right planks to build that exceptionalism on, again, that prosperity, that security. Again, it's the planks in our platform that are based on time-tested truth. They work. They're common sense. They're economics 101.
All right, Governor, by the way, you're missing the party. Thank you for being with us.